Welcome to Escaping the Echo Chamber. Today we have a very special episode because we have a very special guest. I spoke about him in the episode, talked about why New York actually got scared and changed their election laws. The man that has scared the Democrats to death. Um, he's the former gubernatorial candidate, libertarian, and he is currently getting ready to run again for governor in New York State. The one, the only, Larry Sharpe.
I better say
Larry.
something cool now. I don't know. That's a good intro. I better say something good. All right.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you for coming on.
No, anything
yeah.
for you, brother. You know I adore you. I'm happy to help anywhere I want. I want to come on. I love what you're doing. I mean, escape an echo chamber. That's what it's about, right? I mean, we can't just sit here and talk to ourselves. We got to get out there and see other people, and you're doing it, and I'm in. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Could we just start with you just giving just a brief, tell us about yourself. Tell us, start with telling us a little bit about yourself.
Well, no, I actually began to run for governor in 2018 because I got mad. It's going to sound weird, right? I'm a consultant. My day job is a consultant. If you see this gold thing behind you, it's actually my symbol for my company, and underneath that is Frederick Douglass. But anyway, that anyway. My point is, that's my business model, and I was getting tired of being in New York and just the punishment that it sometimes can be. And so many people know you. Everyone watching, everyone listening, who lives in New York right now knows of someone who's left. That's simply how it works. Right. I knew that too. My mother, she died in South Carolina because she couldn't retire here, right? And she wanted to stay here. So it's not a great place. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to pack up and leave too. So I thought I'm going to go to North Carolina because I need a big city for what I do. As I said, I'm a consultant with big business where I make my money. I have to be in a big city that has big businesses or I can't get paid when I want to get paid, right? So for me to do my job, I need big business around. So I thought Charlotte, that's a big city. It's got some big businesses in it. I'll go there. So I went there and I looked around. Literally, we just spent some time there, my wife and I, and we looked around. We looked at houses. We looked at everything around. And we thought, I could sell my tiny house in Queens and buy a mansion in North Carolina and pay less taxes. And instead of me doing it, Aaron, I got mad.
Right.
And I said, why does my state suck? Like, why do I have to leave it? I don't want to leave my state. I don't want to leave my city. My business is here. My family is here. My friends are here. Why am I going to leave my state? And if you know the rest of the state, not just New York City, it's an amazingly beautiful state with everything you could possibly imagine. Right. It's a beautiful state. It's a wonderful place to live. It's just that our government is so terrible. So I said, you know what? I'm going to fix things. So I decided I'm going to run for governor. I'm going to fix everything. That's what I thought. Yeah, I was a little bit wrong on that one, Aaron, a little bit, but it's fine. My heart was in the right place, at least, right? That's one thing. Clearly, the votes were not in the right spot, but my heart was.
Listen, you accomplished something that the Libertarian Party of New York had never accomplished in its history.
That's true.
You got us to become an official party.
Yeah.
That
was good. I was happy about that. Yeah. We broke a lot of records, even though they screwed us over.
Yeah.
In every way they could. They went out of their way, like, what? Larry might do something. Let's stop that. So right. for those of you who don't know, there were the shenanigans that were put on the ballot were obvious. And if you want to look at it, if anyone actually cares, you look at it. I was the only candidate that was on the second column.
Right.
And some of the machines weren't programmed to read the second column because only supposed to be governors on the first column. Right. So if you voted for me in the second column and that machine wasn't programmed to read the second column, that was a blank vote. There were over 100,000 blank votes. So a bunch of those were mine. I don't know how many, probably 100,000, but a bunch of them were mine, right? But not just that. I was the only candidate on the same line as another candidate. That was Stephanie Miner. A lot of people thought, oh, she must be my lieutenant governor. So they checked both of them. Well, that's a voided vote.
Yes.
There were over 100,000 of those. How many of those are mine? 100,000. But we don't know how many were mine. Right. Now, Larry, you should have sued. Why? I didn't win, right? Even if I got the full 200,000 votes, it's still a loss, right? So why bother suing? It makes no difference, right? It doesn't matter. We got ballot access. I didn't win. I only tell that story because I made those numbers even with those shenanigans. I made that impact even with the system against us, and they knew it, didn't change it. We told them to change it. They wouldn't do it. And by the way, they had to reprint the ballots anyway because Cynthia Nixon got pulled off the ballot.
Right.
She was on Working Families. Then she walked out. Cuomo got Working Families. They had to reprint the ballots and still screwed me over, even though they had to reprint the ballots. So they knew what they were doing the whole time and punished me to the best of their ability. And we still got that. So that is good. But to be forward, I want to do better.
Right.
I want to do even better because once we got that, they then said, well, now we'll close that loophole too.
Yes.
And we broke open a hole, and I tried to get people to run through the hole. Remember what I was saying, Aaron? I said, I'll
Yeah.
break a hole.
Right.
You guys got to run through it. And people did. If you remember, I crossed the state again in 2019,
Yes.
and we had 103 libertarians win in 2019. So
Yeah.
103 people rushed through that hole after I broke it. And the party, and then all of a sudden the party was growing. And they went, whoa, we
got to
can't
shut this
have
down.
that. And they said, close that hole right up.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
just closed it.
Yeah.
So
I
now
mean,
I got to try again.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy that they did this, that they waited. It was during the lockdown, during a statewide lockdown, during a global pandemic. One of their first acts was to change the election law to stop what you had done.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's like, and for all this talk about voter suppression from the Republicans, nobody wants to talk about what the Democrats did here in New York State.
Absolutely. It is embarrassingly bad. They said,
Yeah.
let's see. There's absolutely no way in the world he could ever recover from this. So let's do that.
Yes.
But now I'm changing the game, I think.
Right.
Because
Right.
I'm still
Right.
not done. They thought they can keep me down. They were like, that'll keep this pesky Larry Sharpe down. They didn't realize, no. I've already had my ass kicked many times, Aaron. Many times.
Right.
So I get back up. Brother, you know about getting back up. I know about getting back up.
Definitely.
We got to get back up. That's how it works.
Definitely.
So we getting back up again, right?
Yeah.
You knocked me. What did Al Sharpton say? And I know some people don't like Al Sharpton, but this is a good quote he had. He said, if I come by and push you on the ground, that's on me. But if I come back a week later and you still on the ground, that's on you.
Right.
And he's right.
Yes.
Right? He's right. I give credit where credit is due. That's right. So they push us down. We got to get back up.
Definitely.
So I'm coming back in again, and I'm going to go back and break another hole. But this one, it's going to be a bigger hole.
Yes.
They can't close this one up.
You formed an exploratory committee. Tell us what's going on next right now.
Yep. Well, what I'm actually doing, I'm spending a lot of time on the phone.
Right.
Calling my supporters from last time, and I had many of them. I'm literally calling thousands of people who supported me in the past. I'm calling them up and telling them what I'm trying to achieve, what I'm thinking about doing. And I'm doing it because of two reasons. One, I want to make sure that none of them feel alienated. Like, as I start changing my tactics, I don't want them to feel like, oh, is he abandoning us now? I need the grassroots, man. You saw it. You were with me. You saw it. It is, we got to have grassroots. Without grassroots, we're going to go nowhere. So I got to have the individual people on the ground go, I'm behind Larry Sharpe. I got to do this. I'm in. So I'm calling them literally and telling them all, this is what I'm trying to achieve. And the second reason is I want to make sure that they're behind it, meaning they get it, right? They want to do it. And what I'm doing is now in New York State, as you know, and some of your listeners and watchers may not know, we have fusion voting in New York State, which means you can actually run on multiple parties in multiple lines and be listed multiple times. Right. Most states do nothing like this at all. Right. New York's very special in this regard. So I can run as a registered libertarian, which is what I am, and I can run as a libertarian, Libertarian Party, and run in the Republican primary. So if I lose Republican primary, which I don't think I will if I get in, I think if I get in, I'll win it. But maybe I'm wrong. If I do lose it, hey, I'm still running as Libertarian. It doesn't go away. It still exists.
Right.
But if I win the Republican primary, now I'm listed as a Republican and Libertarian. I'm listed twice, which means people who don't like Libertarians that much, but like Republicans, might go, you know what? I'll vote for this guy.
Right.
Okay. So I gain those Republican votes, and I'll get Libertarian votes. And more importantly, now I'll be in the debates.
Yes.
You cannot ignore me this time. You tried to keep me down. Now I'm in your face.
Yeah,
so,
it was.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it was crazy what happened last time, because every prior time Cuomo had debated the entire field. Yep. This time you were in it. Cuomo refused to, and the Republicans specifically said, "Hey, just debate me one-on-one, nobody else." And Cuomo went ahead and conceded, as you know, upstate was looking at him like, "Wait a minute, we don't really like this guy. We don't really." And so Cuomo saved the Republican Party in 2018. He did, and he did, like, he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. Like when he started running ads, because Molinaro had his running mate had been advocating for the SAFE Act, and
her Cuomo, words, SAFE Act doesn't go far enough.
Yes,
her words, not mine.
Yes, and Cuomo then starts running ads that this guy is a Second Amendment supporter, and he like, I'm like, wait a minute, are you trying to help him? Because
yes,
because come on, like this is it's kind of transparent to me, you know, and to people that are watching, we're paying attention, they'd be like, wait a minute, like it's almost as if you're trying to help the Republican candidate.
Well,
And
don't forget, in New York State, the mainstream Republican Party is controlled opposition.
yes,
So you got to make sure that they're still around. Because if you get
yes,
real opposition, well, now you got a
exactly.
problem. So
Yes,
you got to make sure you
yes.
have the controlled opposition. Absolutely, that's the issue. But yeah, so I'm hoping that if I get the Republican nod, then I'll actually be in the debates.
Yes,
But I'm not done. The reality of it is, if I get the Republican nod, the odds are high the Conservative Party will also give me their line.
right.
Not required. The Conservative Party can do whatever it wants, but generally speaking, the Conservative Party tends to take the Republican nominee. That's not 100%, but it's usually what happens. So the odds are they'll go, fine, we'll take them too. So I'll get 3 lines.
Right.
But I'm still not done. I want to take advantage of all this stuff.
Right.
So I'm actually considering getting a Unite America line also.
Okay.
So Unite America has Unite New York, and hopefully I'll get a Unite line, which would be another line I'll get. So that'll be a more independent line, right? Unite line is more independent, so I can get that line. But I'm still not done. Andrew Yang actually has a new party called the Forward Party.
Right.
And I'm hoping I can get his line, right? So I want all those. I want all the lines.
Yes.
If I can get the Forward Party, that's now a more left-leaning line.
Right.
So now the independent line, Unite, and Libertarian gives me independent vote. Republican and Conservative gives me the right vote. And now the Forward line gives me more angry Democrat votes, right?
Yes.
The establishment Democrat is going to vote for whoever the nominee is. I get that. The odds of me getting an established Democrat vote are slim to none. I might get a couple here or there, but I can count on my hand probably. Like maybe like my friends, right? They might not, but they might, right? Established Democrats want to vote established Democrat. I get it. But there are a lot of angry Democrats, upset Democrats, or disenchanted Democrats.
Right.
Might they vote for me? I think yes. And I think New Jersey's results and Virginia's results show that angry and upset Democrats might come my way. And if I give them a line like a Forward line, where Yang is relatively popular in New York City, right? Compared to me, he's far more popular compared to me in New York City. If I could get the Republicans, the Independents, the Libertarians, and 20-25% of Democrats, this becomes a winnable race. Now all of a sudden I can actually win this thing.
Right.
If I can win this thing, that means I get in the debate stage.
Yes.
That means money comes my way. That means now I can buy polling and buy ads and all the things that the big boys do, now Libertarians can do. It changes the game completely. So now I'm trying to use their rules that they used against me, I now use against them.
Right. Awesome. But like I've seen you're so busy. You've got your show, The Sharpe Way, and you've actually been going to events. I saw you at Solutionary Summit. So I saw that you were at Solutionary Summit. I didn't get to go this year, but please tell me how you like it. How much fun was it to be a part of that?
Well, it's the second one, and I was part of both of them, right? So I'm a big fan of Maj Toure.
Yes.
I know he's controversial. Some people don't like him. That's fine. I still like him, and
Yeah.
I'm still behind him, even when people get mad at him. It's fine.
Right.
If you wanna hang out with Maj, there's gonna be some drama. That's how it works, and I'm
Right.
okay with it. I accept the drama. I'm not mad. That's how it works, and I'm okay with it. I think I think he's the right. He is. If the Second Amendment, if the face of the Second Amendment looked more like Maj,
Right.
we would have a more pro 2A country.
Yes.
So, and I think that's important. And I want the Second Amendment face to look more like him so that we can have a more pro 2A country. I think most people who are pro 2A, I think they get it. They're like, yeah, you know what? That helps.
Right.
That makes things better. We need guys like him in our corner. So I'm happy to support him whenever I possibly can. So I went down to the Solutionary Summit. And what I thought was, in my view, now I'm biased, obviously, but in my view, I thought it was better because I thought it was more libertarian than last time.
Okay. Right.
The first Solutionary Summit I thought was more conservative.
Right.
And actually more black and more conservative. The first one was. The second one was still black and conservative because that's what it is. And I expected that, knew that, all good with that. But I would say there was an opening. It was more libertarian and actually more white and Hispanic.
Okay.
Than it was before. It was still majority black, as it's going to be.
Right.
No worries. But I saw a bigger chunk, and I'm like, yes, that means Maj is doing exactly what I want him to do. He is escaping the echo chamber, to steal somebody's phrase. He's actually doing that, which is what I want. He's escaping that echo chamber, and I am all on board with that. So I was very happy to see that. So of course it was heavily 2A, but there were many things. And people talked about liberty, libertarian ideas, being a libertarian. So that was being spoken about a lot more than it was in the first one. So I was very happy with the Solutionary Summit. I thought it was, and something else. People were actually having conversations that you actually don't usually have. It wasn't just Republican bad, Democrat bad, or you damn liberals or you damn conservatives. It was you damn liberals, but you damn conservatives, but right there was the conversation at least, not just the you guys and Wall, it was you guys, but what about? Way better. So I was very happy to see it. So look, am I going to pump the Solutionary Summit for next year? Yes, you should go.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be there. You should
Right.
go too. It was worth it in my view. And we
Definitely.
actually went on a yacht, which is kind of cool too. So that's always a cool thing.
Yeah,
Going on a
yeah.
yacht's always cool. So that was good too. It was Miami. You kind of have, isn't that like a rule? You have to go on a yacht or
Oh,
something with
definitely,
the rules.
definitely. Yeah, it's
So
mandatory.
yes.
It's the
So
law.
we did that. It's the law, exactly. Yes. So I'm very happy. The last one though was in Atlanta, I think.
Right,
First one was in Atlanta, no yacht there. But Miami, we had a yacht, so it was good.
right. Yeah, because I'd seen there was a lot of people there that are in the conservative space that
Yep.
are, and so I'm noticing there's a shift in even messaging, and
Yes.
not even that there's a shift in messaging, there's a shift in the messengers in terms
Mm.
of who like if you've watched last week Fox News primetime all week there was
Mm-hmm.
like a certain type of a different message being brought forth that was that could reach a different demographic. Um,
Yes.
because
No,
like
the issue we see here is there's almost like a split,
yes,
right? It's almost like a split. It's almost like the Candace Owens side, right,
right,
of Black conservatives versus, I'm going to say Kim Klacik, but maybe that's not right. I know they had a feud, but more towards that side. What I mean by that is, if you know Kim Klacik, I don't know if you know her at all. I met her, and what you get from Kim Klacik, whether you agree with her politics or not, and maybe you
right,
don't, but what you get from her is she actually cares about her community. She goes to her community.
right,
She likes to hang around Black people. I know it
right,
sounds silly, but she does. Like,
right,
it's her family, it's her
right,
friends. She doesn't mind. It's fine, right? She can do
right,
that, right? Try to find Candace Owen around Black people.
right, right. Yeah,
You're going
it's
to struggle.
yeah, you've
Yes.
got the like it's to borrow a phrase of yours, black man bad.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like that's the and they had their camp, but now you have a different side of
Right.
black conservatism where they're saying, listen, we're conservatives and we like black people and we're reaching out
Yes.
to black people. Um,
And you're not bad because you're Black,
right, right,
right?
exactly.
You
Yeah,
might be in a bad spot, but they're actually trying to help people,
right.
right? What you find the other side, and I'm just using Candace Owens as because she's the easiest, the
Yeah,
most famous person, but there are many around her world,
yeah,
and many of those in her world say, well, basically these Black people are bad. Let's just get Republicans elected, and that'll solve everything. But people like Kim Klacik and that side of it are saying it's nice to get them elected, yes, but also
right,
let's go in the community and help people because the system is hurting them. We
right.
see the system knocking them. We see the schools not working. So let's make better schools, right? We see King Randall going down there and saying these kids don't have purpose. Let's give them some purpose. That would
Right.
help. How about we give the young male some purpose?
Yeah.
And then maybe they won't do dumb stuff because now they have purpose versus
Yes.
thinking that there's no hope. So I think this is the side that's doing what I feel is the right side. That's why I support it so much. That's why you see me getting behind it, right?
Definitely.
I think it was Sonny Johnson who was talking about the funny part of how people are mad in CRT when they talk about things like being less white. And then she said, "Well, wait a minute, you conservatives have been telling us to be less Black for years,
Yes.
right?"
Yes.
And that's the kind of stuff that people don't want to talk about. And that's what
Right.
got talked about at Solutionary Summit. Now,
Right.
I'm not saying she's right. She's totally right. But I'm,
Yes.
I'm not saying she's right. I happen to love
100% right.
Sunny. I
Yes.
happen to love Sunny.
She's
But I'm just saying,
she's the only reason I have Sirius XM. Sonny Jackson. Yes.
there we go. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the reason. That's why you should buy it. No question. Yes.
Yeah.
So I love her. But my point being, that doesn't get talked about except Solutionary Summit.
Right.
When it happened at CPAC, I thought the world was going to. Did you see that CPAC?
Oh yes, yes. That was phenomenal. That was phenomenal. It was like, yeah, and it was funny
And Maj
because
made that happen.
yes,
To
yes.
be clear,
Yeah,
Maj
yeah, yeah,
made that
because he
happen.
yes, yeah, yeah. But that's what I'm saying that seeing like a uh not just the message, but like they're coalescing, saying, listen, it's time to not allow this caricature of
Mm-hmm.
a black conservative to
Yep.
have the spotlight because the left will love to show that so that nobody because once black people see a Candace Owens or Brandon Tatum, they'll say, oh, we don't even want to listen to the message. But if you have a different type of black conservative, black libertarian, you'll see people will be like, okay, this isn't hostile. This isn't anti-black.
That's
So
correct.
there's actually this is actually something we can be a part of and we can be welcome into.
That, and this is that both sides have on this one, which is if you look at the Candace Owens side, they will simply say there is no systemic issue whatsoever. None. No systemic issue. It's the
Right.
system is perfect. It's the system is perfect. And if I go, okay, great. So black men create obviously create more crime. Yes. So the system is perfect. Yes. So black men are bad. And they'll go, no, 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 no. I love black men. Great. Do you have any black friends? No, you don't. Anyway, sorry. But anyway, so they're not. No, no, no.
Right.
Black men aren't bad. Okay, great. So the system's gonna be bad. No. Okay, so system's perfect. It's perfect. Okay, if the system's perfect, but black men are creating more crimes, black men are bad, right? Yeah. Now, if you're Tatum, all you do is go, when I was a kid, I was my grandpa. He'll give you some stories that from
Yeah.
I don't know what. He'll just dodge the question. Candace will yell at you. So he'll dodge the question. Candidates will yell at you and tell you how evil Democrats are. Neither of them will answer the question. But the problem is the left is also bad. The left says the system's bad.
Yes. Let's get.
Therefore, white people racist. What? How does that work? You can't, so one is white man bad and one is black man bad. Neither are bad, right?
Right.
There's systemic issues that are moving people towards certain actions. And those systems almost always start as a racist system, but then become ingrained because you don't want to be racist. So you validate the system as not racist. War on drugs, war on guns, right? Both started completely racist
Right.
and then became validated in the mainstream. So then they affect white people too, and Hispanics,
Right.
everything else. The war on drugs back in the 70s was basically only against black people. It
Right.
was rare and ever affected white people. Now, white people getting hammered too, just as
Yeah.
bad, if not worse.
Yeah.
The war on guns after the Civil War, that was only black people.
Yeah.
Now it hammers white people too, because you started as a racist issue. You don't want it to be racist, so you validate it in the public eye as not racist. Now white people getting beat up too.
Well,
So
and
let's talk about the system on how it actually works, and then change the system. And instead of saying black man bad, say no, system bad. And instead of saying system bad, white man bad, say no, system is bad. White man, help me change it. Now we get success.
okay. Yeah, definitely. I mean, because I see that that you have individuals. See, I don't even think that the people on the left believe the stuff they're saying. I think they don't. Like, seriously, when they start talking about, in fact, Jeff Charles, who's also at Solutionary Summit, he tweeted something yesterday about
I was on the show,
how.
by the way.
Okay, yeah, wow,
Yes.
yeah, like he's a really cool dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and it's a funny thing. He will tweet stuff, and he uses this tag, breaking news, and that means it's a satire. But if you don't
Okay.
follow him,
Mhm.
you won't realize this. So several times over the past couple of weeks, like the AP fact checked him, like, "Oh, that's not true. This didn't actually happen." And he's like, "Listen, it's just satire. It was a joke."
Right.
Somebody went on Fox News and they was like, "Oh yeah, this happened," and it's like, "No, that was a joke. People, calm down." uh, but yeah, he was talking about how uh, the 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 messaging of the from the left is so anti-white, but what I'm noticing is it's just messaging. They will say, oh yes, because white men are this, but who controls the Democratic Party? White men. Like they even right now
Yeah,
there's a
but let
report.
me explain why that's true.
Yes.
Because, and this goes back, believe it or not, to Occupy Wall Street.
Okay.
Occupy Wall Street. The left was really good there, to be forward with you. Like the left is only good when they're morally good, right? Which is rare, but it does happen. And one of the examples is Vietnam, when they were against the Vietnam War. The left was right at that point. Well done, right? If you were marching the streets into the Vietnam War and you were on the left, you know what? Well done. That's okay, left. I'm with you on this one. Let's get together and march in the streets. Well done. I'm with you. The concept of Occupy Wall Street was a real, true concept. There's a massive wealth gap. The 1% are getting more and more and more, and the 1% of the 1% are getting even more. That was real. That was a real thing. And during the crash, they would get even more because they were buying up more stuff. It was real. The problem is they didn't know what to do with it. They had no idea what they were doing. Their anger was righteous. They knew something was wrong, but they had no plan, no nothing. So they screwed up the execution. But they were right. I was like, yes, I was down there supporting the stores down there. I was eating down there to support the stores because they were all getting hammered by the people who were going to the bathroom there and screwing everything up in downtown. So I was going down there. I was with them. I thought this was a great idea. And then I realized, oh, you guys just want to have drum circles and smoke weed in front of cops. Oh, okay, that's what you want to do. There was no plan.
Right.
So the elite said, okay. how about this? I know you want to change the entire system, take away all our money, change everything, break up the big banks, all that stuff. How about instead, we'll send our leaders to sensitivity training? And they went, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they
We'll
did
take it.
culture war.
Yeah.
They did culture
Yeah.
war. So
Yeah.
they throw culture war out to
Right.
stop real change.
Oh yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
they were like, oh, well, and then the right was like, wait a minute, you're going to get rid of our money? I'll tell you what. Did I tell you how much we hate trans people in bathrooms? Yeah, we hate them. The right didn't care about that. That
Right.
was just meat thrown out there. And the
Yeah.
left said, what? We get to fight the right over trans bathrooms? We're fighting a culture war. So now we're fighting over sensitivity training and trans people in bathrooms when no one actually cared about either of those things in general. I mean, some people did, of course, but most
Right.
didn't. That became the big news. What happened to the actual change to the system that would help? Nothing.
Nothing.
So, yeah, do white men run a lot of stuff? They do.
Yeah.
But so do black men, Hispanic men, Asian men, right? But a lot of white men do. It's the elites.
Well,
Most of them happen
right.
to be white. That's true. But the
No, I
problem
mean,
is now we attack white men because the elites are majority white men, but the majority of white men are not elites.
Right.
The majority
no,
of white men are
definitely,
poor
definitely.
slobs like me and you.
What I'm saying is that the Democratic Party itself doesn't hate white men. They use that messaging because like Joe Biden, even though the DNC chair, Jamie Harrison, there's an article, Business Insider, out about how he's actually not running anything, how Joe Biden won't let him make any decisions. So what I'm saying is they use that, like you just said, in terms of the culture war to distract. So they will, oh yes, white supremacy, this, like, it's gaslighting. It's
Yes.
pure
Yes.
gaslighting.
We will literally have training that says don't be white.
Right.
Because
yeah.
do I still get my $10 million bonus? Yes. I will not be white, I promise.
Right.
That's all it is, right?
Yeah.
I still get my bonus. I don't care.
I mean, if you take a look at the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, they're doing that, like they keep throwing out this word white supremacist, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is a white on white crime.
He only shot white guys.
Yes. What does this have to do with black people? But they keep running. Oh, well, what if this was a black person? But it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It wasn't a black person who.
I don't
it
get
wasn't a black person who did the shooting. Wasn't a black person who got shot. This has nothing to do with black people. But they're using their gaslighting, and they're experts at it. They are experts at gaslighting.
You could actually leave us out of this one. This is the one time in a shooting you can leave us out. We'd be okay with it. Like, go on, white people, do your thing.
Right.
I really don't mind. It's totally fine. Yes, you could.
But it's crazy because I'm looking at how they're framing it, and I'm like, okay, so they're like, well, what if this was a black man? I say, okay, what I want to do is say, yes, what if it was a black person? What if Kyle Rittenhouse was black? So you'd be advocating for this black man to go to jail for trying to defend himself against 3 people that attacked him?
No, you'd be advocating for this black kid to go to jail who's being chased by 3 white fellas in the streets.
Yes.
You think that guy should go to jail?
Right.
That's not a good look, is it? That's not a good look. Yes.
Yeah. And
that's not a good look. I agree. Yes.
Yeah. And because I'm looking at it in terms of just the law, because he's using self-defense as a defense, but one of the things, and if you saw, they had dropped the charge, the misdemeanor gun charge, which a lot of people thought, okay, that's nothing. It was just a little charge. That case, the self-defense hinged on that, because if he had been found guilty of that, that means he was engaged in criminal activity the entire time. His self-defense is now in jeopardy. Like, he can't now, because according to Wisconsin self-defense law, if you're engaged in criminal activity, you can't advocate for. It's not self-defense anymore. You're a criminal, and that was the linchpin of his of the prosecution's case against him, and that's gone. But so many times you've got the black kids, the young black men who either have weed on them or some type of drugs, or a firearm that they have illegally, and now whatever they do, no matter what they're doing, if they're defending themselves, if they're defending, it's crime, and they have no legal recourse to self-defense because of this law.
But the worst part, though, is this shows how bad the prosecutors are.
Yeah,
because they're accustomed to just putting that out there, and no one checked them and stopped them. Literally, they charged him with something that was not a crime, and we didn't find out until during the actual trial. So how many times they charged the black kid who's poor that exact same way, and no one ever finds out, and he can't defend himself?
Right. Right.
Rittenhouse only because Rittenhouse has a lawyer and it's on TV.
Yes.
What about the literally thousands of poor kids, white kids too? I shouldn't just say black kids, white kids too, but most of them obviously are black because of the prison system.
Yes.
So, but a bunch of poor kids who don't know, and the prosecutor for that itself, in my eyes, he should be jailed.
Right. Right.
I don't mean that. I'm not joking. He
Right.
should do 30 days in contempt of court because a professional prosecutor who is a lawyer who's been doing this for years literally put up a charge that all he had to do was have one of his clerks look at him and go, is this the right charge? Oh shit, no.
Right.
That's it. That's what
Right.
it took. It took him asking a clerk to please verify that charge. He did not. How many times has he done that?
Oh yeah.
In my view, 30 days contempt of court, spend 30 days in the county jail.
Right.
That's
Right.
what I would do. That would
Yeah.
teach that prosecutor and every other prosecutor, just do your homework.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that was hard. Just how old do you? Oh, 17. How old was he? 17. No charge. But to your point, they wanted to stop him from doing self-defense. So they put that charge up there to end it. They didn't care if it was real. They
Right.
didn't care if it mattered. They didn't want to do homework. They just wanted to put the white supremacist kid who only shoots white people in jail.
And I'm looking at this case. I'm like, what's going to change from this? I mean, you've got people on the right who are now like, oh yes, self-defense. This the justice system. This is a witch hunt. And I'm like, will they? Okay, I'm not actually asking this question because I know the answer. But in a dream world, I'd be asking the question: will they keep the same energy going forward? No. The answer is no. As soon as this case is over, they'll completely forget how crooked the prosecutors are, how corrupt the justice system is, and everything else from this point on is, oh, you should obey the law, you know. But it's like it's frustrating seeing this play out and seeing the sides switch, and immediately after that instant is over, everybody just forgets and goes back to, you know.
Well, the other piece is no one's fighting the system. What they're
Yeah.
doing is they're blaming the individuals.
Right.
Right. If you hear the left just thinks that basically not only is Rittenhouse a white supremacist, but the judge is too.
Right.
They
Right.
think the judge is a Klan member, right? Because the judge said something they don't like. Well, now he's a Klan member. They're all Klan members, right? They're talking about that. I'm like, wow, he's just a judge. I mean, I don't know if he's a good judge. I have no idea, to be forward.
Right.
But my assumption is most judges, are trying their best to follow what they think the law is. Most are. I'm sure they're corrupt. They're corrupt ones.
Right.
I'm sure there are. But I think most are trying to do that. But if that judge was going, Rittenhouse, you're a terrible guy. Can't wait for you to go under. The left be like, what a great judge.
Right.
He's the
Right.
best judge ever. But again, to your point, what if Kyle was black?
Yeah. Yeah.
They'd be saying this judge is the greatest judge ever.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful judge.
Yeah.
Talking about the black kid. He's a great judge. So no, nothing's believable.
Yeah.
But the other part that you get, the next part that we deal with here is once if Kyle does not go to jail, he is a hero for killing people.
Yeah.
That's not the right way of looking at this.
Right.
The reality of this is Kyle is scarred the rest of his life. He was assaulted. He shot people. He spent time in jail. And now he's here. And if he gets out, he's scarred. He's an 18-year-old kid who has to live with this, assuming he lives into his 80s, for almost 70 years. He has to live with what he did. Now, I'm not saying he's wrong to do it. And people go, well, he was justified. Justified doesn't mean it's okay. Ask all the veterans who come back, who are defending themselves by shooting people and defending themselves literally on the battlefield, who still have PTSD from the things they've done. Just because it's justified doesn't mean you're okay with it. It means legally you don't go to jail for it, but you're still scarred internally from the things you've done. Kyle is still bothered, and he will be scarred the rest of his life. And we act like, well, that bad guy. No, he's scarred either way. Now, the right will, if he doesn't go to jail, we'll call him a hero. They'll name a street after him. They'll put him on all the TV shows, and they'll act as if what he did was a good thing. It was not a good thing. It was a tragic thing, and I wish he didn't have to do it. And I wish he didn't have to kill those guys. That was not what I wanted him to do. Was it justified? In my view, yes. Still crappy, though. I don't want to glorify what happened. I want to say, I wish it didn't. He was justified in what he did, in my view. But I don't want to glorify it. And the opposite. The left is going to call him, he got away with murder, blah, 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 blah. So now he's got to hear that the rest of his life. He's got to hear people on the left call him a murderer. You got away with murder. He's 18.
Right.
Man, is he going to get a second chance? Probably not. And if he goes to jail, well, now his life is ruined. So you've screwed him over anyway. He's gone to jail. Right. The right will make him a martyr, like he was, he's Jesus now. He died for our sins. The right will make him that, right? And the left will like, good, murderer. Kyle is screwed no matter what. And that's what no one is talking about. And I'll talk about it. He's a young man who, without question, whether you agree with what he did or not, was clearly doing what he thought was the right thing. That's true. I think he thought it was right. Even if you're a lefty going, he was going to go kill people, he still thought that was the right thing, right? Whatever you think, he believed what he was doing as a 17-year-old was the right thing, defending his father in his father's town. That's what he thought. And bad stuff happened, and he had to kill people. That's crappy. And he has to pay for that the rest of his life, no matter what. Who's talking about that? I will.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a human element that's completely lost
Yes.
in all of um, this reactionary nonsense that happens
Yep.
between the right and the left. It's just, yeah, every time, every one of these tragedies, the Ahmaud Arbery case, it's
Yes.
like the human element is just missing. It's like these people just become, even if a person is dead, they just become a totem for somebody to use to score points on the other side. Um,
Yes.
and
I mean, if you're Aubrey's parents, my God.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, wow. You go to the grave with that. You don't ever forget that.
yeah,
You live, and there for his family, there's gonna be Thanksgivings when no one's gonna know why. People just break down and cry.
yeah.
That's gonna happen. They're just gonna break down and cry. And it doesn't matter if there's justice served or they get a check or whatever. People go, yeah, they got a check or whatever. Yeah, but their loved one is
He's
gone,
gone. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
and horribly gone and horribly
Yeah,
never going to come back. And then some people in this country are saying, good. Some people are saying that, and you got to live with that the rest of your life.
yeah.
I will say that because people should understand that there's pain involved. It doesn't go away.
Right.
Will it get easier for his family? Of course, all pain gets easier. But losing a young person like that, particularly if you're a mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, uncle,
Yeah,
particularly that, you take that pain to the grave. That's how it works. That pain goes away when you go in the box. Until then, it stays.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry. Am I
Absolutely.
being a down on your show? I'm
No, no,
sorry,
no,
Aaron.
no.
Did I
Listen,
mess your show
I
up?
know,
I'm sorry.
I
I messed your
appreciate
show up.
that element, because that's the perspective, and that's the point. I like hearing a different perspective, and a perspective maybe I haven't focused on as much.
Well,
So
you know me, Aaron. I mean,
yes,
people tease me and they call me a bleeding heart libertarian. They do. And I wear that honorably because I am.
right,
I'm the guy who says the movement's about happiness, not freedom and liberty. I don't talk about that. I talk about happiness.
right,
I want people to be happy. I don't want people to feel any extra pain. Everyone's life has pain in it. We've
right,
all seen it. We've all felt it. I would like us to have as little pain as possible, but there's going to be pain. We're going to lose people, make mistakes. Things are going to be bad. Luck is going to be bad and screw us over. That's going to happen to everybody in different ways. But let's have as little of that as possible. And when we get a chance, let's get a second chance. Let's take it and let's support people who need second chances. And let's realize that some people are going to feel pain their entire life.
right,
Let's try to make it less. You can't always make things good, but sometimes you can make them less bad.
right.
And when you can, you should. It's just human. If more people would focus on that, we'd have a better culture. And that's what I talk about.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. Um, Quick question. Key to New York City. Do you think it will ever fall?
I hate that they even use the key
Right,
right concept because our governor said was a key to unlock yourself to go back. So they're literally saying we locked you in a
right,
prison
right.
and we'll give you the key if you do what we say. No, not really. Will the key to New York go away? That's a tough question. And what I mean by that is it will, but it won't. Let me explain what I mean by that. It will shift and it won't be the same thing,
Okay,
but it won't go away. So, okay, you don't have to have a booster, but you got to have just the first shot, or you got to have a mask, but you don't, but only if you're 18 or whatever, right? I'm making this stuff up, but you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I think the concept of being able to have it and us not saying no, oh, they're never giving that up.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
never giving that up. So it will change. If you mean go away, meaning it will change, yes, it will change, but it'll never. There will always be something that you'll have to do,
Yeah,
right? You'll have to get a license. You'll have to, I don't know, vaccinate your dog, whatever. They'll find something to say you've got to do this thing, right? So yeah, the it will change and shift, but it won't go away. And the next time there's any kind of problem, they just bring it right back out again.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, because one of the things that bothered me was throughout that focus, they talked about, oh, people, don't worry, people, you can still eat out, you just can't eat inside the restaurant. Hey, if you're just missing some movies, but they didn't talk about the people that worked there, that worked at these establishments, that either had to have their bodily autonomy violated or get fired.
Yep.
And that never, like, the media just never talked about it. That was
Yep.
really, that was
I
disgusting to me.
actually spoke about that on my radio show the other day, and I was talking about the idea that as I traveled in New York State, one of the things I heard was the number of people who were losing their jobs.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute, you losing your job? Yeah, because of vaccine mandates. I said, what? But you work from home. Yeah,
Wow.
because the mandate is the mandate. It does not matter. It's the mandate. So, and you might say, well, Larry, and I was like, well, you don't work for the government. I know. Doesn't matter. Her company or his company has a contract with the government.
Right.
Therefore, all the employees must be vaccinated. Even if you're a contractor who doesn't work on that government contract, right? The company may have many contracts.
Right.
One of those contracts is a government contract. So if one of the contracts is a government contract, you must all be vaccinated, even though you don't work on that contract. Worse, you work from home. You don't go into the office. So you don't even see anybody.
Wow. Wow.
Lose your job. And that to me just shows it's all about the system. It doesn't have to make sense. It's irrelevant if it makes sense. The system, all systems eventually, if you don't correct them or base them on humanity, they will always become up to a point where the point of the system is to maintain the system. There's no other reason for it to exist. It exists to exist. That's what happens. I would say the same thing. When it comes to systems and people, you should be harsh on systems and lenient on people. We do the opposite.
Right.
We lean on systems and harsh on people.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Definitely. Larry, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course, absolutely.
And please tell people how they can support you. Number one, support your campaign, support everything you're doing.
You can Google Larry Sharpe. That's awesome. I got my name on my shirt in case you forgot my name. So I got my name on my shirt in case you forgot. You can just Google Larry Sharpe if you want to. You can LarrySharpe.com. You can see what I'm doing. If you want to see where I'm going, LarrySharpe.com/events. That will show you where I'm going across the state. If you want to see me, I'm downstate, upstate, Central New York, North Country, all over the place. Happy to see you. You can see me personally. If you want to see my show, you can check out the cool Sharpe Way show. Just Google Sharpe Way. It's on YouTube. It's on all the interweb things. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all the things. If you want to actually support what I'm doing, if you like what I'm doing, head over to LarrySharpe.com, click that donate button. And if you're like, hey, I'd like to, Larry, but do you take cryptocurrency? I do. Click that donate button. There's a button there to give Bitcoin. Now, look, I'm not greedy, Aaron. Just give me like half a Bitcoin, okay?
Just half.
Just half Bitcoin. It's fine. Have Bitcoin. All good.
So thank you for coming on. It's been I'm really honored and glad that you were able to come on. We were able to chop it up. Thank you.
Awesome. I'll see you all soon.